Hi, my name is Aaron and this is Gear, and we are going to be sitting down with Dustin from Average Guy HiFi. So sit back and enjoy the video.
Yeah, my name's Dustin. The name of my YouTube channel is Average Guy HiFi. It's something that I started almost a year ago now. I have a couple of videos that are older where I had like a rhythmic FV15 and I try to blow out a candle with the bass port. But those are just me younger, just trying things out and throwing a video up. But when I really, about a year ago at this point, I started kind of getting aggressive with trying to do one video a week of just used equipment that I find in my local markets, and then use my money to purchase them, and then I'm selling them for the price that I paid, which is, I think, is important as well too. There's a lot of flippers and things, but whole nother story there. But just sell the equipment back to the community, and then take that money and put it back towards other speakers that I just test out for about a week, and then keep it going. 52 weeks later, I'm just continuing to do that same thing. Yeah, so that was the one thing I started reading online, doing a little research. I was caught up in my own head, really insecure about putting myself out in front of people in the world and getting judged on that. So I was being a little bit conservative, kind of reading up and seeing like what would be 1 year if I did these videos one a week, how much growth. I was expecting to have 1,000. That was my goal, so I wrote it on my chart. I got a little growth chart for work and personal, and it's I hit 4,000, or it's at 3,700 right now. So I think right when 1 year hits, it'll be right about 4,000. So it started with the goal of 1,000 and then hit 4,000. So it's just been way more than I ever anticipated. Well, I mean, the feedback, the questions that people are asking me, it's so different than what a lot of the other channels are doing, where they're reviewing kind of the newer stuff. I think that there's a little bit of a niche that I found with this, and people that have smaller budgets, people that are just dipping their toes in, don't want to throw a whole bunch of money at it to start with, they're finding the content somewhat helpful, I think. So the growth's been great. Well, I think this type of conversation is something that people don't really talk about either. The amount of work that it takes to do this, and just the inspiration of others. I mean, Youthman was a big help to me. Back in the day, I was on the Klipsch forums with Youthman a long time ago. He's still on there, and I'm still on there, just kind of barely. But that was my entry. I bought a Klipsch Synergy 5.1 at a pawn shop. They were super beat up. They had the F3 towers though. It came with the sub 12, and I mowed lawns, literally mowed lawns. I was 14, mowed lawns for probably about 3 months, and they were still sitting there. And if the pawn shops, if you know the game, the longer they sit, the cheaper they get. So next thing you know, I'm dragging those things home, and comparing, posting, join the Klipsch forums to learn about them. Crossed paths with Youthman. He was kind of early days back then, wasn't doing YouTube videos or anything, but he was always, they call him Youthman deals, and he talks about them in his videos. But I would see the purchases that he would get, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he got RF7 for $1,000, and that was when they were current, whatever they were. He'd get RC or RC64s for $100. You're like, these are incredible deals. So, and it turns out I started just shopping. He was my kind of inspiration to start looking for deals, because I had already picked up that pawn shop set. I was young, didn't have a nice receiver or anything, but it sounded really good, compared to what I was used to, which was TV speakers and things like that. And just him kind of posting those deals just made me start thinking. And that was the reason I started this channel. It's like, there was something really cool about hearing somebody almost like win. It's like, hey, that person won. Instead of paying $1,200 for a center channel, they got it for $100. I mean, the difference there is huge. Take that money that you save, put it towards something else, and you can take a tiny budget and really grow something special out of that stuff. So what got me into it? It's kind of crazy, but it's not really crazy. I think my dad took me, we were killing time. We went to Magnolia Bellevue. I'm not sure if you remember the standalone Magnolia Bellevue off Northup Way, I think is what it's called. And I went in there, and there was just something. I saw Martin Logan electrostatic speakers where you could see through them, and my brain I like gear. I've always liked, cars. I like so that type of thing just really, it was like, oh my gosh, this is cool. And then they turned them on, and you're like, that sounds like somebody in this room singing to me. And I'd never heard that before. You go to like the Kingdom, you hear these big speakers and huge, but it's echoey. It doesn't sound good. But then when you get a high quality, powerful system in a room that's treated well, it sounds like they're singing to you. And there's something about that resonated with me. And that store was always special. The people that were there were super friendly. They knew I didn't have a lot of money, but my parents let me drop me off there and let me cruise around for an hour, and the salespeople would help me. And And over the years, once I got old enough, I bought dual Abysses from them. I was like, I got to return the favor, Martin Logan Abysses from them. And then I bought some Monitor audio speakers. I bought some Definitive Technology subwoofers from them. So that was kind of just trying to give back. So it proves the point that if you kind of help somebody, be kind and give them information, even though when you know they're not going to buy, if they're passionate about it, then I think it's going to most of the time turn into business for them down the road. And it clearly did for them and me. It was just it was fun going from the person that couldn't afford the stuff to, trust me, I still can't afford the stuff that they had in there, $10,000 speakers and the Trinity subwoofer, these things that cost $8,000. And I was always like, okay, I'll take a $500 subwoofer that they have on sale. But anyway, that whole experience just really kind of planted the seed. Yeah. And then this whole other thing about trying to figure out how much I could stretch my budget out turned into a little bit of an obsession in its own right. And it actually goes back a little bit farther than that. It goes back to, I'll send you a link to it, but it goes back to an Iowa, I think that's how you pronounce it, Iowa bookshelf speaker system that I just obsessed over. Right. It had like Incredible Universe. Do you remember that store? You might be too young. Down in Auburn, there was a massive electronics store that was called The Incredible Universe. So my parents took me in there, even at a younger age, and there was this Iowa bookshelf system. It had the center channel. It had the 2 surrounds. My parents didn't give me the subwoofer, so I bought it on my own. Again, mowed lawns, did it on my own. And it was amazing. It sounded wonderful. Everything was, and it was beautiful looking. So that was probably the initial kind of attraction towards it. Plus my neighbors had a Bose lifestyle system in their living room. And going from TV speakers to that is that's why I have no hate for Bose. I know that's the fun thing to do online. But if it expands the hobby to others, then I think that it's going to benefit all of us. Yeah, it's the gear. I mean, the community is awesome. Most of the community is just very supportive and awesome. But it's the gear. It really is. Now it's almost like I'm not a drug addict, but you hear it's like people, a part of the process where they become addicted to drugs, it's like even getting in their car and driving became a part of it. And when I'm going to get speakers, it's the same thing. Yeah. I know that I've done my research. I know that these are speakers that I've always wanted to hear. I'm excited about it. Yeah. I get there, I meet cool people. I get to listen to them in different rooms. I get to bring them home, set them up, tweak them, get them set up to it's like that whole process. Yeah. But I've sold speakers that I never should have sold, like I have many regrets, but this whole process of buying them and then just letting them go, it's been pretty fun too, because my experience with so many different brands is like, and it's my ears. I'm not judging other people's on what their ears are. So this is what I like the sound of. And I've been through so many systems. I've moved around, so I've been in so many different rooms that you can really achieve a lot. But it's the short answer. It's the whole process when it comes to going and picking it up, taking the cash out, loading them up in my little car, driving them home, setting them up, messing around with them, having them in my hands and listening to them. That's my favorite part of it. How do I know if I got a good deal? It's just years and years of reading about speakers. I'm like a walking blue book value. In this, all markets are different. That's the other thing that people need to know. Like, what is a good deal here might not be a good deal somewhere else. So, but for the Seattle market, for how many speakers I've sold, how many speakers I've purchased, how many speakers I've researched, I roughly know how much they are. And my goal every time I'd buy something, even before the channel, would be buy speakers that I know I can get my money back out of. And people don't realize that they can do that. It's not like a car where it goes through multiple owners and no, it's some people want to buy new, of course, but there's people out there that are willing to pay. I'm not that strange, and I know the value, so I know what things sell on eBay for, but it's just research and doing it for so long. I just know how much things should cost, and if I can get my money back out of it, I consider that a good deal. The problem is buying used, there is a risk because there's things that come in broken. There's issues. If you can't listen to them, you got a blown tweeter, there's all kinds. Subwoofers have bad plate amps, so there's that side of things too. So sometimes you can actually lose a little bit of money doing this whole thing, but most of the time I do my research, read up on it, check eBay pricing, check the sold prices, and it's just from experience. Yeah, I'd say my favorite experience with buying speakers was, many people will remember this, but when Klipsch was closing out the Palladium lineup, I ended up scoring I got a five channel setup there. So I got the matching, they were bookshelves with the center. So, but the matching bookshelves and then the center channel
Oh, you
for
got
50
those.
for 50% off. And I was in love with them.
Yeah.
I got the natural ones, so they were the light colored ones. They're just beautiful. I'd come home, I would like just kind of look at them. There's some definitely ones that stick out. Those stick out. I love the purchase, the fact that I got a good deal on them. When I sold them, I was literally like, I was driving home and I was like depressed. You know, I was like, I shouldn't let them go. Even at 50% off, though, my mind was like, there's a lot of money tied up in those. And I bought them. I didn't put them on credit or anything, but you still, once you get to a certain, my balancing point is different. Some people could have $50,000 in their system and be perfectly happy with it. I start getting somewhere around $10,000 and my brain is like, that's a lot of money just sitting there. Now I enjoy it and I have a good job and so I do it, but I think that a lot of people kind of get themselves a little bit in trouble when it comes to that. The new owner actually reached out to them 6 months after I sold them to him, and I was like, hey man, he actually came down from Canada to buy them. I was like, hey man, do you want to sell those back to me? He's like, not a chance. So, you know, and that's a risk you take. You know, it's a risk you take once you see them drive away, but you got the cash in hand, and who knows what I bought with it then, but that's one that definitely sticks out. Other speakers that I've really enjoyed the sound of over the years would be the, which is what my main, if I build a home theater, these are what I'm going to use. They're the Klipsch KL650 THXs, the Ultra 2. I like those speakers. I want 5 of them, and I want the in-ceilings and then the surrounds. That's going to be my theater if I ever build one. So I have, like we mentioned on the way, when we were talking earlier, one of them was damaged in shipping today. So that's a little bad news that I got today. So that's getting that delayed anyway. But this is for future. I'm building that for a future home theater that I don't have yet. But just big subs and that'll be the room. Plus, I really like Definitive Technology. I've owned a bunch of their speakers. I think that the ST Super Towers, which are like their big Mythos powered Super Towers, I got a pair of those at home right now. I love those things.
I have those too.
Oh, I love them. I think
they're great.
They're fun. And like we discussed earlier, I like fun speakers. Those are probably some of the highlights, but I've had some pretty cool subs, you know, like that SB16 Ultra. I think that's it's like in my small room, how beautiful it is, how the warranty is. It's a fantastic, the Shure ULS 15 MK2s, the Rhythmic subwoofers. I've got a Rhythmic FV15 in storage. So, it's the whole thing. It just, you have to kind of listen to stuff. And now that I've kind of done that, I can really pick things out and kind of know what I like the sound of. And I've listened to some pretty cool stuff over the years. I've just tried so many that there's a lot of brands that I've actually had my hands on. I would love to try some of the more expensive Martin Logan electrostatics. I've always been like, I've had the ESL, the ESL X's, I've had the Arius, I've had a few of the different Martin Logan electrostatics, but I would like to really try some of their more expensive ones. Something $10,000 a pair would be real nice to have. That's the end game 2-channel for me, by the way. Like, I have kind of what my thoughts are for my home theater, but a 2-channel, big power, big Martin Logan electrostatics. That's something that one day, fingers crossed, I would love to achieve something like that. Yeah, so that's a tough one. There's so much advice that you can really give people when it comes to this, especially if they're just starting out. There's so much to learn. I would say the best advice that somebody gave me was get the front 3 speakers that you can afford. I would say I would start with a 3.1 system that is a good quality that you can kind of build a foundation around, and then focus on the rest of the stuff as your budget allows.
I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did. If you did, please like and subscribe, and there will be more content coming. Thank you so much.